Hey YouTube, I'm your fave nurse B. So today we're going to be talking about one of my subscribers' questions. I'm going to answer it. So this was a little bit more personal. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and consider subscribing. I have a lot of videos about nursing, how to get into nursing school, tips about nursing, tips for new nurses, all that good stuff. But anywho, okay, so I was asked, I like you. I've always seen the thumbnails to your videos, but didn't click them until now, and I'm grateful I did. I'm grateful you did too. Let's see. Please tell me more about your personal life while you were in school, such as were you living on your own? Did you have roommates? How was your experience getting into clinicals? Did you drive, catch a ride? Basically, I want to know your struggles while in nursing school. You do now. So yeah, let's get right into it. I was a CNA at the time, and I was married. I'm still married. My husband and I, we lived in an apartment, and let's see, we had one car. Honey, I don't wish it on nobody, but we had one car, and it was crazy. But we had each other. I got through it, you know. But anywho, that was basically how my home front was. So I was working as a CNA in a nursing home, and we had the one car was with my husband. And let's see what other questions he asked or she asked. So I definitely had the responsibility, you know, of paying bills. That was a big responsibility, and I had to work. I was working. Check out my other video about how to work full-time while in nursing school, how I graduated valedictorian of my class, even though I worked full-time the entire time I was in school. But so I would go to work, go to school Monday through Friday from like 8 to 4, and then I would go and work a single 8-hour shift. Like on Thursday evening, I work a 8-hour shift. Then on weekends, I would work 16-hour doubles. Saturday, 16 hours. Sunday, 16 hours. Get off at 11 o'clock. Go back to school 8 o'clock Monday and start it all over again. So I was doing that, and that was crazy for like the first, I would say like 4 to 6 months. I can't remember, but 4 to 6 months before we went to clinicals, I was working and going to school every day of the week. I had no day of the week off. Then when we went to clinicals, they dropped our Friday day, so I didn't have to go to school Friday. So what I did was I changed it. So on Thursday, instead of me working evening shift, I work night shift on Thursdays. And so I would get off at like 7 in the morning on Fridays, and I would have the rest of the day off. But then, say for instance, we missed clinicals or we missed class, I would have to go from work to school on Friday. Friday was like a makeup day. Go straight to school on Friday. It was crazy. Like, it was too much, but got through it. I did not have any children at the time. I'm grateful for that, because that was hard, but didn't have to deal with that. I would say the biggest struggle was going to school and working at the same time, which I have a whole nother video about that. And then also having that one car was just like, no ma'am, no bueno. It was no good at all. So when it came to clinicals, so my husband, he was able to drop me off to school, and then when we had or drop me off at clinicals, and then I would have to bum a ride from somebody. Thank God this person was being nice, you know. She would give me a ride, and that was cool. Sometimes we would get into it. I would like, forget it, I just walk home. I would walk home. She'd be like, okay, fine, you ain't got nothing to do with me. But yeah, I had to do that. And then we would change clinical sites, so I would still have to try to either get a ride from her or wait around for my husband to come get me, depending on his schedule. It was horrible. I hate having one car, but I'm grateful that we had a car, grateful for that. But I'm very grateful to the individual who let me ride with her. So that was really very sweet of her. So yeah, that was that when it came to clinicals. I didn't like clinicals. I will have another video about clinicals and how to be successful and all that good stuff. I did good in clinicals. I just didn't like it. Something about them was just ugh. I don't know if it's because you already go and you work as a CNA. You got to go to work and get paid for this. Then when you got to go to school, you got to be a CNA too. It's just because it's kind of like when you do nursing work, when you go to clinicals as LPN, but sometimes it's a lot of sitting around and just like being bored. But I had like the coolest people with me on my clinical site. Like me and this girl still talk to this day. Like she crazy. She made it fun. But it was cool. Like I was just telling my biggest struggle was just working and dealing with that one car. And you know, through school you kind of get discouraged because, you know, your spouse doesn't really know, like they're not doing it with you. They're there to support you, but like you're doing it. So when that person's like, let's hang out, let's watch TV, let's do that, like you're like, no, like I'm trying to be successful, like leave me alone. And it's selfish and you hate to do it, but it's just like, you be like, damn, don't you see like I'm working hard, like you should be pushing me to do that. Instead you want me to hang out with you, but that person loves you, they want to be with you, so that's why they doing that. But you kind of get frustrated. At least I got frustrated at times. But I'm grateful for my husband. He was very encouraging. Getting into school was somewhat of a struggle because, to be honest, I didn't even have the money to pay for my test. So it was something back I had it was like this whole big thing. So I didn't graduate from high school. I had to get my GED. So I had got my GED right before it turned into what it is now, like the high set or whatever it is. So I kind of procrastinated a little bit, and by the time I actually was like, okay, I'm gonna get this GED and get it over with, in my area they were done doing paper tests. They were switching over to computer tests. There was no more paper tests. All the sites were closed in the St. Louis County, in Illinois, in St. Louis, like St. Charles. Everything was closed here in St. Louis City, all that. I had to go out to Jefferson County, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from St. Louis. So I had to go out there and do my test, and I had to do it on the computer. I wanted to do paper tests. I had to do it on the computer, and I had to, you know, it's like 5 different subjects they have you go over. So I had to split it up between 2 days, and I drove out there, took the test. Of course I passed it. Had to go out there again, take the test, and went straight to work after I did these tests. And it was like, I had to get it done. Because I was like, I'm going to get into this class. I'm going to try to get into this school. Like, I'm going to try to get into it. So I had to do that. That was a little bit of a struggle, but it happened. And then getting into, like, fast forward a little bit, that was like in November I got my GED. And then I would say by the end of January-ish is when I actually took the test to get into nursing school. So I had talked to my mom just in passing about, you know, me wanting to go back to school. And she was just like, so how much is the test? And I told her it was $40. She said, I'm gonna give you the money for it, take the test. Okay, thank you, Jesus. So I took the test, which was like your math, your English. And my husband was like, you better pass this test. Your mama gave you this money, like you need to pass it. So okay, pass the test. I mean, I was CNA, I don't know, I can't remember what my husband was doing at the time. Like we was just got married. Like we was only married for like 2 years. We were still young and poor, you know what I'm saying? So anywho, my mom gave me the money for the test, took the test, passed it obviously. And that was kind of like my motivation. Like I gotta pass. Mama gave me this money, I gotta pass this test. So I passed it. And then, I mean, I was just like, dang, I gotta come up with this money to do, because you have to do like I'm about to say a DNA test. You had to do a drug test, and then you had to do like a background test and all this other stuff. And it ended up amounting up to like 150 something like that dollars. So I ended up talking to my dad, and I was like, okay, you know, do you have the money? Can you help me out? And I don't know why I was just like so open to asking my parents for money. I didn't really ask my mom, but like asking my parents for money, because I've never really been big on asking my parents for money at all. Like I don't do that really. But you know, that thing was from my dad. Like whenever I do ask for money or something from my parents, like they give it to me because I don't ask for it. But anywho, so yeah, he gave me the money. I remember we met up at the Quick Trip by my house. We used to live in Canfield Grand Apartments. So that's where Mike Brown got shot and killed back, what was that, 2014, August 9th, 2014. But yeah, So that's where we lived. We lived there at the time he got shot. We saw everything. Well, we didn't see it, but you know, we lived there. And anywho, that Quick Trip was open. The same Quick Trip that they burnt up and all that good stuff. Also, after watching the video while I was editing, I wanted to add something in too. So with us living in Ferguson and in Canfield Green at the time, and me being in school at the time that Mike Brown was shot and killed by Darren Wilson, we did have some issues, like as far as, it was times, I remember the first night it happened, I was at work. I'm always at work or at school. And like one of my coworkers was like, this the Quick Trip that's by your house, don't you live over there? And she was showing me what was going on, like on the news. I was like, this is not right, this is crazy. And anywho, I believe that night, like, we couldn't even get into our apartment because people was out there, you know, already rioting. It was so much happening. So we had to go to my in-laws' house. And basically, almost like for a week, we would have to go to my in-laws' house, which they live right down the street from us, spend the night there, and we would be watching everything happening, like, on the news. And we live right there. I mean, it's literally right down the street from my in-laws' house is where we lived. It was maybe like 2 minutes driving. So we would be seeing all this stuff on the news and hearing it in the background, and like I would still have to go to school the next day. But that is nothing compared to the, you know, of course, Mike Brown and his family, everybody, things that actually, you know, that happened to them. My struggles was nothing compared to them, but that's just part of it. Like, yeah, we had to go there, and then early in the morning, like around 5 o'clock, that's when I would get up. We would get up and then get back into the apartment. But like I said, it was nights when we was like, okay, I just want to go home. We couldn't get in. Because I guess they thought that people was coming there that wasn't even from that area, didn't live in the area. People wasn't even from St. Louis was there, and it was just ridiculous. Like the one night that we did end up being able to sleep there, it was, you just heard so much around you, helicopters all the time, like it was just crazy. We end up at school, I think they canceled school like one day during that, I think the day right after the unrest or whatever, the uproar, they canceled school, so we ended up having to make up for it on a Friday. So yeah, that was that. It was crazy. It was a lot going on. I didn't film anything or photograph anything, but it was definitely a lot going on at that time, just as far as like the stress level, you know, living in St. Louis, and on top of that, living in Ferguson and living in the complex where it happened. So yeah, that was that. I wanted to add that into this because that was part of my, you know, nursing school struggles or just history or experience. So yeah, that's that. Anywho, my dad met me there, gave me the money, and I got everything done, because like once you took the test and passed it, you had like 30 days to get the whole like packet done. I gave my recommendation to 3 people at my job: the HR person, a nurse that I first started working with as a CNA, and a nurse who taught my CNA class. Got that done, and I got in. And it was some of the struggles to begin with. I think in the beginning, like, we was in some type of financial situation. I don't know if my husband had got laid off or something at that time, but it was something going on financially. But I was like, forget it, I'm gonna go to school. I don't care. We're going to get this done. I'm in the class. We're going to get it done. We're going to make a way out of it. So, and it just happened. So sometimes money becomes an issue, transportation, and just flat out, you tired, you done with it. I'm just done. But yeah, that was my struggles. I would say, you know, it was still a good experience. Nothing too crazy happened. I had my wisdom teeth pulled out. All 4 of them were impacted. I had them all pulled out while I was in nursing school. That was crazy. But overall, I got back from, bounced back from that. But it was a fun experience. I did have some issues with teachers. I'm very vocal, hence the fact that I'm doing YouTube videos. But I'm just one of them people, like, I've always challenged authority, not in a sense of just, oh, so you're authority, so let me challenge you. Just like, just because you have a position doesn't mean that in my heart, like, you earned it. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I've always questioned people who are in a position of authority. And I try not to do it disrespectfully, but sometimes I feel like if you're in that position, then you need to do what you gotta do. So like I did have issues with teachers, but I always come back and redeem myself, apologize or talk to them, and we come up with an understanding, and like we cool. But I always have an issue, whether it's I don't like the way you teaching, or I feel like what I'm reading in the book is totally different from what you're telling me, or just something. It's always something that I kind of pick on. Like as far as like we had some crazy stuff, like our teacher, either they changed, they fired this person, the person got sick, and we wasn't able to, you know, finish the course the way we needed to finish it. Like it was a lot of stuff that just happens when you're in a nursing program. You just like, really, like, I'm paying my money for this. I don't know. I think they kind of feel like just because you paying financial aid or you got student loans, like that they can give you subpar education and you should take it. No, I still have to either pay this back, or I'm paying for it some type of way through taxes. Like this is my education. And I feel like as teachers, your teacher works for you, not the other way around. Now definitely they're there to supplement your education and help you. You have to put in the work, but at the end of the day, the only reason why you have a job as a teacher is because I'm here as a student. So you work for me. So if I need you to do this X, Y, and Z, or I need you to step up your game and teach this class the way you need to teach it, I'm gonna need for you to do that. So, and I was very vocal about that. And then I want to read y'all something. So one of my classmates, I guess I had a little tiff with a teacher in the middle of class or something, whatever. So this is what she sent me. Let me just tell y'all. That's what she sent. She said, "What is wrong with you? How come every time something doesn't go your way, you get upset and make a scene?" I think something the teacher was saying or doing, I ended up just walking out the class. Yeah, I didn't care. I just walked out the class because I'm like, at the end of the day, I'll get this information myself. It'll be okay. I'll get it and I'll pass. Do you know that Mrs. Lee doesn't have to give us PowerPoints or study guides or even review the test? I don't know the context of why she was getting mad, but anywho, what we paid for in that $17,300 is a textbook and the workbook. Please don't mess it up for all of us with your disruptive behavior and sassy mouth. Let that lady teach her class the way she wants to. You see, if she feels like it's beneficial for us, she can adjust it, but you can't run her classroom. So basically, I think the way the teacher was like trying to do the review or whatever, I was like, this is not helpful. At least to me, it wasn't helpful. I can't remember. But anywho, so yeah, that was an example of how I was, and that's how she responded to it. I didn't respond to her back because I want to go back and forth with somebody over Facebook. I just don't do that. But I mean, I get it. You feel a certain way, like, so you respond. You be like, you know, this is what we need to do, so don't try to ruin it for us. Like, don't be making a scene, da 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 da. But somewhere down the line, like I said, I passed. I was the top of my class. I was voted by my classmates as being the, what do you call it? It was like a leadership award, like the person that really helped you to get through this program, blah 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 blah. Like I would do stuff like do printouts and do like different things, like show people different stuff to help them. I did study groups of people like I was very helpful classmate. So I kind of get like where this person was coming from, but I always made sure that I wasn't the one in class talking and yapping and getting into it. He was about to fight. This person was about to fight certain people in the class. Like it gets to that point like crazy. So I wasn't doing all that. So I felt like for you to come to me and say all that, like, girl, please, at the end of the day, I'm here to get an education, and that's what I care about. And I understand that's what she's trying to say she was caring about, but she really, I don't know, like, maybe she did. She passed. She's a nurse. I think, I don't know, we're not friends on Facebook, but anywho, so that's that. So I was kind of crazy, and I, you know, you have to be humble at the end of the day. I try to be humble. You have to be. But I just felt like when I was in school, like, I was just like, you can't really tell me nothing. Because I'm going to get through. I know I'm going to get through it. Like, I know this type of person. I'm going to get through it. So, yeah, that was that. But your girl did fall off when I had, when we went from the first semester or whatever, going into the second one, we had started med surge. Honey, I was so tired. Like, I was starting to get into senioritis type of thing. And I think like my first test, like I think I got like a 70 something, which was not what I wanted to get. I can't remember. And then one time, like the teacher, like you was not on time. She closed her door and you couldn't take the test. So that happened, and she took like 10% off your test. I was like, really? I got my first B in nursing school in that class. So up until that point, I think we took like 5 or 6 classes. I had all A's. Took that class, got a B. I'm like, seriously? So yeah, I kind of fell off my high horse a little bit. But at the end of the day, I did try to be very helpful while I was in nursing school and be like, you know, be cool with people. But at the end of the day, you can't be cool with everybody. And everybody not going to see how you act as being good. And sometimes you got the moments where you just act like a bitch. And that was me probably at some point. So anywho, I did have a good time in nursing school. But it would be like this disruptive times, like where people, the whole time the teacher teaching, they back there talking. You be like, girl, like really? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Or people would cheat. People cheated through nursing school. Or you would have issues like, what else was happening? Well, I think I told you about this in another video. Like our teacher who taught med surg, she was a very good teacher. And then it's 2 semesters where I went to. So, I mean, 2 campuses. They have the Med Center campus, which is more in the city. More black folk go to that campus. And then you got the one that's South County. It's in a high school. Like they don't have their own like building. It's in a high school. And it's more like white people that go there. So anywho, I mean, it don't make a difference. Just telling y'all, like, that's what the difference is as far as really what I can see. But the test scores are higher at the Med Center where I went to. But anywho, since the tests and the grades were higher and the pass rate was higher at that location, they took a very good teacher that we had and put them out there at South Tech. And so that sucked. So we lost her for one of the classes that was the hardest, med surg, and we had to get somebody who never taught med surg. But she did a good job. We passed it. It is what it is. But that was I did have like one little beef with somebody, and it wasn't nothing serious. It was just a matter of like miscommunication. But me and her never talked after that though. But things happen. Like there's tension that arises while you're in nursing school. I mean, at least where we was at, it was 30. We started off with 30 people, and we all were in one room together 5 days a week. Mostly women. I think we had 2 men in our class. It was a lot going on. It was a lot. But I met some really great teachers, some really great people, and I mean, that's why I'm here making these videos for y'all, because of my experience with that school and while being in nursing school and all the ups and downs of it. So that's that. I hope I answered your question. I hope you all got a little bit of insight into me, a little bit more personal life. But yeah, that's that. And now here I am. I finished my prerequisites for my RN program, but your girl is pregnant. So I got maybe 3.5 more months before I had this baby. Then I'm gonna go back to school and just finish, I think, like 2 classes I have to finish. And then my next hurdle, which I'm not worried about, the guy, I got it all taken care of, is paying for a school I went to a long time ago who's freezing they're holding on to my transcript, so I cannot get into an RN program because they want those transcripts for me to get in there. So I got to pay off that school to get into an RN program. But it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get there. I'm done with these prerequisites and I'll get there. So that's that. Thank you for watching. Peace.